Hey, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Chris Maloney back with you for another edition of CWN Recap, WWE Survivor Series 2020, which just got off the air about 20 minutes ago. I'm going to say this early. I'm not crying. You're crying. It was kind of emotional to see The Undertaker in the ring, possibly for the very last time. It's very unique, very interesting when you see all of the legends who had gathered in the ring at the very end of the show. And just all the memories that came back, the Shawn Michaels matches, the Triple H matches, all the way through the Godwins and Savio Vega. And, I was online earlier and all of a sudden they had posted on YouTube with regards to Undertaker versus Undertaker back in 1994. I knew exactly where I was in the hype that went along with the match. But anyways, yeah, it was bittersweet, sad to see him officially retire, so to speak. And like I said, it was Survivor Series tonight. So again, Chris Maloney, London, Ontario, Canada. I'm going to run down the show for you and then just give you my feedback on what I thought. And guys, if you're listening or watching, thank you very much. Feel free to comment. I'll read your comments here on the air, as well as any questions or anything that you liked or disliked about the show tonight, Survivor Series, let me know as well. But in the beginning here, we had the kickoff, and ironically enough, The Undertaker wasn't the only presence from 1990 felt at this show. So first official match of the night was the Gobbledygooker defeating R-Truth to win the 24/7 championship. And not sure if it was Hector Guerrero. I don't know if he's still alive, actually, and I feel bad saying that, but Gobbledygooker, new 24/7 champion, defeats R-Truth to win it. So that was the kickoff at the beginning of the show. Then we get into the kickoff battle royal, and then it was 18-man over the top rope elimination style as far as the battle royal went. So 9 guys from SmackDown, 9 guys from Raw. Order of elimination was this. So John Morrison, Kalisto, Rey Mysterio, Humberto Carrillo, Angel Garza, Cedric Alexander, Ricochet, Shelton Benjamin, Murphy, Bobby Roode, Robert Roode, Dolph Ziggler, Apollo, Nakamura, Elias, Jeff Hardy, Chad Gable, and then Dominic. And what it came down to was this. Dominic thought he had won, so he went, and at one point, The Miz, who was also in this match, looked to have been eliminated. So he was on, basically laying down on the apron of the ring, almost to the floor, right before he gets booted from the ring apron. He rolls back into the ring in front of 2 referees. They catch this, and all of a sudden he gets booted down to the floor itself. Well, like I said, the referees had caught this, and when they caught this, they were like, he rolled back in. So officially, he had made his way back into the ring before he got booted out. So technicality, Miz is still part of this match. So basically, when it comes down to it, because Miz was still part of this match, Dominic Mysterio didn't officially win. So when he threw Chad Gable over the top, there was no announcement, no music, no ring bell, so to speak. And it was kind of like, okay, well, why aren't they announcing this guy as the winner? And then sure enough, you see The Miz come up from behind, eliminate Dominic Mysterio to win the Battle Royal there, holding the Money in the Bank briefcase in hand. And, the announcers let you know that basically it is a pay-per-view. It is still a show, and The Miz can cash in anytime he wants to. So a strong win for The Miz. Good play with regards to Dominic Mysterio, making him look, important there. And like I said, The Miz ends up winning the Battle Royal there. Yeah, and that was it for that. So kickoff was ended there. On the panel, by the way, it was Charlie Caruso, Booker T, JBL, Jerry the King Lawler, as well as Pete Rosenberg. That was your panel for tonight. Backstage interviews, of course, with I always forget her name, the girl with the freckles there. But she was doing backstage reporting and interviews and stuff like that. And she had done one with Paul Heyman prior to the actual show itself. And Heyman was kind of poking fun at her. So it was kind of still neat to see Paul Heyman doing his thing in 2020. Main show was this. So Team WWE Raw, which was AJ Styles, Braun Strowman, Keith Lee, Riddle, as well as Sheamus. Taking on Team SmackDown, which was Baron Corbin, Jey Uso, Kevin Owens, Otis, and Seth Rollins in the opening match of the show. To begin with, Sheamus defeats Rollins by pinfall after Rollins stated for the greater good to his team then got down on his knees, did the whole cross out arm spread there, and then basically Sheamus hit him with the bro kick there and end up pinning Rollins. Rollins rolls out of the ring, and they're basically chewing him up. The leftover Raw guys are in a huddle, and then sure enough, Braun Strowman comes up and nails them and freight trains them. So it was basically a clean sweep for Monday Night Raw, though. So from there, AJ Styles defeated Kevin Owens by pinfall. Riddle defeats Corbin by pinfall. Strowman then defeated Otis by pinfall. Otis put on a strong showing there. He just, down essentially when it comes down to it, he got outpowered in the end. And then Keith Lee defeats Uso by pinfall. And as this is taking place, Paul Heyman's in the back and he's watching the monitor. He's just kind of shaking his head, disappointed basically in Uso. And that will play out towards the end of the show there. So the winners, sole survivors, Team WWE Raw, the entire team. So AJ Styles, Braun Strowman, Keith Lee, Riddle, as well as Sheamus. So that was your opening match there. First comment is, Sean Bates goes and says it's Kayla, which he is right. I always Kayla Braxton. And I should know that because I watched the bump before the pay-per-view, so I should know that. So I will see if I can get that right for the next time I do a predictions or a recap show. Match number 2 of the night: the New Day, Kofi Kingston as well as Xavier Woods had Big E with them, which was kind of cool to see. Obviously, Survivor Series, both brands on the pay-per-view. Taking on the Street Profits. New Day came out dressed in Gears of War 5 gear. It was kind of cool. And then they did like a little intro as far as Microsoft, I think Xbox One or the Series X or whatever you want to call it nowadays. And then basically had showed clips of them in Gears of War 5. So kind of cool to see the interaction between, video games outside of WWE video games as well as WWE characters. So it's kind of cool that way. Anyways, Big E didn't go down to the ring for the match. Mutual Respect was played after the match. A lot of basic, back and forth moves. So at one point, it looked like the New Day was going to take it. Another point, it looked like the Street Profits going to take it. It's one of those things. I think Angelo Dawkins as well as Montez Ford are going to be talked about as one of the greatest tag teams in the history of wrestling. If they can last the next 5 to 10 years, they have a gimmick that is over. They are both talented individuals, and it's absolutely amazing to see them do what they do in the ring. And I mean, if you want to see a frog splash take place, basically Eddie Guerrero had a great one. RVD had a great one. But you take the two of those guys and they do not, and they are legends, okay? They are legends, but they do not compare to basically the frog splash and how high Montez Ford gets. It's absolutely amazing. But in the end, Street Profits pick up the victory. Like I said, mutual respect between the two teams after the match was done. And, like I said, I see the Street Profits being one of the greatest tag teams in the history of wrestling if they can last the next 5 to 10 years. So bank on that there, guys. Next match was match number 3, Sami Zayn, who basically put his foot in his mouth and this could have been a better match, I think. I mean, a lot of people knew going into it Sami Zayn was going to lose, but the match itself to me was weak. The Hurt Business came down with Bobby Lashley. They kind of surrounded the ring, so anytime Sami went out of the ring, he couldn't do anything. Sami attempted to do the count-out victory, couldn't do that. Attempted to get Bobby Lashley disqualified by playing tricks and this and that, couldn't do that. At one point, he was just overpowered and outmatched, so when it came down to it, basically Bobby Lashley put him in the Hurt Lock. Sami Zayn had no choice but to give up, and makes the Hurt Business look strong, makes Bobby Lashley look strong. Sami Zayn, like I said, I think in the pre-show, the prediction show that I had done, I can't see him being an IC champion at the end of the year. But it was Survivor Series, right? You got IC champion versus United States champion, and the US champion went over and looked strong in this one. So congrats to them. Sami Zayn, like I said, is going to be interesting to see who he feuds with over there on SmackDown. But Lashley looks dominant, and I think they should actually give him a world title run. Besides the ECW championship that he once held way back in the day, I think he could benefit from being in a feud with Drew McIntyre over there on Raw. So I think as a wrestling fan, I'd like to see that. Match number 4 of the night, we got Asuka, Sasha Banks. Predictions here didn't take place as far as Charlotte Flair coming back, but it was a good match. Again, one of those matches back and forth. A lot of submission moves taking place. Sasha Banks looks very strong in this one. Asuka looked good. Asuka looked good as well. They kept playing up the fact is Sasha Banks had never pinned Asuka in the whole history that they've ever competed against each other. When it comes down to it, basically Asuka just ran out of steam. Sasha Banks ended up getting her in a pinfall, ended up scoring the win. So Sasha Banks, for the first time ever, beats Asuka. Looks like a strong female champion. No interference at all, though. Like I said, nothing to do with Charlotte Flair, nothing to do with Carmella. No talk, I don't even think, of Carmella or Charlotte Flair. And that was the kind of the way they went tonight. It was just kind of match for match, brand versus brand. They kind of left the storylines, what were taking place on the shows alone. So, guys, it was a good match. It was what it was. But again, it'll be interesting to see where Asuka as well as Sasha Banks go from here. Then we have a backstage segment here, and we see the gobbledygooker is celebrating. And all of a sudden, next thing you know, we see a trail of bird seed. So it's like this whole big bird seed thing taking place. And the next thing you know, there's a big pile of it at the end. And it was like a whole big Looney Tunes Wile E. Coyote spot, or, who was it? Elmer Fudd, when Elmer Fudd used to be hunting rabbits and this and that. But it was, your typical WWE comedy. But anyways, Gooker falls, ends up falling the bird seed into this big pile, starts going nuts, starts eating the bird seed. And next thing you know, Akira Tozawa comes up from behind, rolls him up, gets the pin. And then from there, he's new 24/7 champion. Well, then R-Truth, basically appears, shows up, nails Tozawa with the bag of the bird seed, and then ends up becoming the new champion. So Truth goes into Survivor Series as champ. Title changes hands 3 times during the show, and then he leaves as champion. So 24/7 champion still is R-Truth. And I think they say it's the 45th time that he has been champ. So it's when I tell you this, when I first saw the title Mick Foley presented on Raw that one night, I didn't think too much of it. But the way that they have carried this, and the R-Truth character and the way that he's carried it, it's absolutely amazing to see the 24/7 championship still be relevant and still have a following. Like it's kind of like that entertaining moment of the show where you can rely on R-Truth to come up with something kind of cool and special there. Match number 5. Team WB Raw, Lacey, Lana, Nia Jax, Peyton Royce, as well as Shayna Baszler, taking on Team SmackDown, which is Bayley, Bianca, Liv Morgan, Natalya, and Ruby Riott. So Lana had a good showing, and the next thing you know, she gets banished to the steps by Nia and Shayna. So the steps are right behind them in the corner there. They basically say, hey, get down on the second step and stay there. Don't move. You're not part of this match anymore. So Peyton Royce hits a superplex from the top rope to the outside into the participants at one point. So the group of girls is outside. It was a tough spot because Peyton Royce couldn't really get a good grip on Bayley. And by the time the move hit, Bayley was on the top rope, and then basically they just went. It wasn't the greatest of superplexes, but it was great to see them attempt it. The only downside about it besides that was the girls that were on the floor should have protected the girls coming down on them better. And if you go back and watch the replay, you can see there didn't look like to be enough support from the girls on the floor with these two falling, 10 to 15 feet in the air. So it was a tough spot. Hopefully they're both okay. I haven't heard anything else. They both continued the match. So again, it was a tough spot to see. I'm going to have to go back and watch the replay to see if it was really that bad. But, congrats for attempting and actually pulling it off. But I don't want to see that kind of again this year. From there, Natalya, she gets in the ring with Peyton Royce. She goes for a submission move. She ends up messing it up, and then basically she ends up putting Peyton Royce in the sharpshooter, gets a submission win there. So Royce is gone. Lacey then defeats Natalya by pinfall after hitting the woman's right. So that came out of nowhere. Lacey then goes and hits a Spanish fly to Bianca Belair. It looked great. Like Lacey Evans, the way she can move off the top rope or the second rope is absolutely amazing. A very gifted athlete. She only got a 2 count. Shayna Baszler then ends up defeating Ruby Riott by pinfall. Baszler had locked into forget the name of the move. It's K clutch. Hold on, I've got it here. Kirifuda clutch. There we go. So she got the Kirifuda clutch locked in, and then basically Ruby Riott, she had made a pinfall, but the referee was distracted, and then basically the referee comes over to count, and basically Ruby Riott rolls off. She at this point is knocked out, and then basically Shayna Baszler just says, "Oh, well, she's done," pins her, and that's that. Morgan then defeats Evans by pinfall with a crucifix bomb. Nia Jax defeats Morgan by pinfall after a huge Samoan drop. And then Baszler gets DQ'd after not releasing the Karafuda clutch on Bianca Belair. So with that being said, 3 women are left. One of them sitting on the stairs for the entire match almost. The other 2 are Nia Jax and Bianca Belair. They get to the point, they get outside, they're brawling. Bianca Belair, like, for as small as she is the toughest woman on that roster. I guarantee that. She basically picked up Nia Jax and threw her over the barricade. And basically at the, while this is taking place, referee counts 10. So both Nia Jax, Bianca Belair get counted out. And then guess who wins the match? Lana. And she's celebrating in the ring, and the table spot had been set up, but nothing happened. Nia Jax was just kind of looking miserable on the outside and be like, holy crap, I can't believe you won. I can't believe I got that prediction right. Of all people, I thought it was going to honestly be Bianca Belair. I picked Lana in the prediction show just because WWE booking, and then sure enough, the way it played out, Lana ends up getting the victory. So it was kind of cool. It was kind of neat to see, and it's interesting to see what they're going to do with Lana from here. I watched her Chronicle before the show had started. It's not too bad. So guys, if you get a chance, check out the Chronicle there on the WWE Network featuring Lana. From there, we have got the announcement, the WWE TLC, Tables, Ladders, and Chairs 2020, officially announced for Sunday, December 20th. That'll be the last WWE pay-per-view for the year. They've got one more special coming up as well with regards to tribute to the troops. And then, like I said, on CWN Weekly this past Friday, they announced War Games as far as NXT TakeOver goes. That takes place, I want to say the 6th. There's a lot of pay-per-views coming up between them and Impact Wrestling, as well as ROH announced as well. But like I said, WWE TLC Tables, Ladders, and Chairs taking place officially Sunday, December the 20th. So that'll be the next WWE prediction show that I do. And like I said, I'll do the NXT one as well. So then we get to main event time. And I was surprised here because I thought they would do Taker before the main event. But nope, they left Taker till last, and they actually do the main event next. So main event is Drew McIntyre with we're taking on Roman Reigns. Paul Heyman's in his corner, obviously. A very physical back and forth match. Final moments of the match, Roman missed a spear into a McIntyre arm submission. The arm submission by a guy who's about 6'4", 6'5", putting that move on Roman Reigns was absolutely amazing. Reminded me of how quick Asuka is in putting on submissions, but it was kind of a cool moment. From there, Roman put McIntyre through the announce table, but he had to do 2 attempts to do it. The first one didn't take. The second one, he basically put all his weight into it. So Drew McIntyre goes through the announce table. McIntyre gets speared through the barricade. They go back in the ring, 2 counts. Drew misses Claymore. Spear in the ring by Reigns, 2 counts. So obviously you can see the back and forth going between the 2 guys. Very physical match. Reigns then goes for a spear attempt. Drew hits the Claymore, but then Reigns, as he's getting hit by the Claymore, ends up knocking to the referee. So referee is down. Roman Reigns is down. So who comes down to the ring? Jey Uso. He interferes. Low blow by Roman Reigns. Super kick by Jey Uso. Submission by Roman Reigns. That new clutch where he basically jumps up on the guy, puts the guy's head underneath his arm, and then basically wraps his legs around the guy's body to the point to the guy gets down to the ring apron there, and the next thing you know, it's done. And referee's still out at this point. So the announcers, I think Michael Cole had made reference to the fact there's a new ref coming down the ring. New ref comes into the ring, sees Drew McIntyre. He's basically passing out, and that's the end of the match. So he calls for the match. Post-match, though, and this is what happened. So Jey Uso ended up getting chewed out in backstage. About an hour before this, Paul Heyman basically sat there and be quiet. But Roman Reigns chewed out Jey Uso, said, he's basically disgusted because of the fact he couldn't control his guys in the match that he was in. Disappointed in the fact, maybe he should be out of the family. Jimmy Uso tried to step in and say something to Roman Reigns, and basically, Reigns was like, "Get out of here." And then he basically said he was disappointed in Jey Uso, told him to get out of there too. And then him and Paul Heyman go back into the dressing room there. So there was a lot of kind of mixed feelings at this point between Roman Reigns and his cousin Jey. And then all of a sudden he gets to the main event here, and then Jey comes down to the ring, helps Roman win. And then post-match, like I said, Reigns comes up the ramp. Jey is up there at the very top of the ramp. Reigns comes up, stares him down, and then next thing you know, kind of gets like a half smirk, half smile on his face. hugs his cousin Jay. Drew McIntyre is looking devastated ringside there, and then basically the family's still together. So that's the way it played out there. WWE 2K's Battlegrounds Undertaker code. So for anybody with WWE 2K Battlegrounds, I am one of those guys. The official code for the American Badass is just Undertaker 30. So Undertaker 30. So you put that code into the locker room as far as WWE 2K Battlegrounds goes, and the like I said, Long Night Undertaker 30, and that'll get you the American Badass character for free there. And then we get into Undertaker 30. So they announced all the guests at the beginning here. So ring announcer Mike Rome's in the ring. He announced Shane McMahon, The Big Show, JBL, Jeff Hardy, Mick Foley, The Godfather, The Godwins, Savio Vega, Rikishi, Kevin Nash, Booker T, Shawn Michaels, Ric Flair, Triple H, all dressed in basically, street clothes, suits, ties, everything else. And then Kane comes out in his ring gear. The whole get up with mask and the gloves and the elbow pads and everything else. So Kane's the only one in the ring gear. Then all of a sudden, next thing you know, they do a tribute video to The Undertaker. And then when they come back, Mike Rome announced that Vince McMahon's there in the ring. All the legends at this point have disappeared. And so I guess a little bit different probably because of COVID. But the fact is, it was interesting to see because of the fact that you think, I guess the Undertaker's character too, you don't really see him interacting and shaking hands and hugging people and this and that, but they want to pay the respects. So they pay the respects. They do the tribute video. Vince McMahon's in the ring. He basically, words of tribute to the Undertaker is one of the greatest gimmicks of all time. It's not necessarily goodbye because the fact is his legend, his legacy will live on forever. And then McMahon introduced the Undertaker. It was kind of interesting because they had his regular theme, but in the beginning, it was kind of like this lightning bolt kind of, if you're, familiar with MIDI tunes and, MP3s, when cell phones kind of first came out, that kind of almost like a computer just making random noises, this and that. So that's what it sounded like. But you had these lightning bolts going back and forth, and it was playing the Undertaker's theme music. Well, then all of a sudden the normal entrance hits. Undertaker comes out. It's COVID taking place, everything else, but the sound was piped in. Undertaker, just your regular kind of entrance. You couldn't really tell if you weren't looking at the crowd. The crowd wasn't actually there, but Undertaker came out, said it was time for the Undertaker to rest in peace. And then this was the coolest thing in the world. I'm going to see if I can bring this up because I'm not that great at the overlays as far as the program I use yet, but I'm going to see if I can do this. I'm going to get rid of these two banners here. And I'm going to do this overlay thing, and hopefully it works. Yeah, there we go. So that was probably the coolest graphic of the night, and probably the coolest moment of the night as well. And Twitter was lighting up, and I mean, people were sharing their thoughts, and right before that happened, you could hear Paul Bearer's voice, and it was a touching moment by the WWE. It was basically, you see the Undertaker there as well as the Paul Bearer hologram, and it was a cool, touching moment by the WWE, to include Paul Bearer in this final kind of moment for the Undertaker there. So very cool, emotional kind of show with regards to Survivor Series itself. I mean, you had all the matches, but obviously they being overshadowed by the final appearance, the final farewell of the Undertaker. After the hologram, Taker left the ring, basically went up to the top of the entrance ramp, did the one-arm salute, went, headed towards the backstage, and then the graphic for the Survivor Series logo come up. So that was it. But as far as the show itself goes, it's weird because I don't think it's sunk in yet. I mean, you see the Undertaker specials and you know that he's kind of officially retired from the ring and this and that. But to know if this is it, 30 years has gone by so quick. I mean, I remember when I first got to see him 1990 Survivor Series, like I said in the preview show, I've seen him at least 6 times, in person live wrestling. And, some of his biggest moments, the Hell in a Cell with Mick Foley. Obviously, the Undertaker versus the Undertaker, his WrestleMania matches. I was with my buddy Sean when WrestleMania 30 took place. We're at this place called Silver City here in London, watching on the big screen, and to see the Undertaker, the entrance just basically on that size screen was absolutely phenomenal. and then to see him lose to Brock Lesnar was it sucked. It really sucked. And you're in basically a movie theater full of wrestling fans, and they're watching this with you. It was it's giving me goosebumps right now, actually. Just thinking about it. But he has been the legend for the past 30 years as well. And he basically put to shame anything WCW, NWA ever did with them. So it's going to be, like I said, I don't think it's honestly sunk in for me or a lot of wrestling fans out there to know we may never see him in the ring with this persona again. So it'll be interesting because it's the Undertaker, and as this is taking place, all the tributes are pouring in, and Farewell Taker is up there as well. And then of all people, Dustin Rhodes, Goldust, posted that basically there's nobody better than the Undertaker as far as that gimmick, that character, that entrance goes. So, it's one of those things where I don't think there'll ever be another Undertaker. It's, but it is what it is. But in saying that, some comments here. 34 years as a wrestling fan, and 30 of them have been with Taker. From Sean Bates, like I said, he was sitting beside with WrestleMania 30 in the Silver City there. And then Sean goes on to say, thank you, Taker. So I agree wholeheartedly with he was the greatest gimmick probably in the history of wrestling. But he definitely, number one, in my opinion, had the greatest entrance in the world as far as wrestling goes. So guys, with regards to this show, you always know that I always do match of the night as well as wrestler of the night. So match of the night is right here. So Drew McIntyre taking on Roman Reigns is my match of the night. It's hard to argue with that. It was hard hitting back and forth, fast-paced action for the most part when it came to the end. But when I looked at the past matches that had taken place the whole show, it's an easy pick for me. Drew McIntyre versus Roman Reigns as far as match of the night goes. For wrestler of the night, it's got to be the Undertaker. I mean, it's a career that will be cemented in wrestling 50 years from now, 100 years from now. But Undertaker, I teared up. I didn't tear up when I saw him, but I teared up when the Legends came out, and then all of a sudden it started bringing back all the memories and this and that. So wrestler of the night, obviously for me, is the Undertaker. So hashtag Farewell Taker was the official hashtag on Twitter. So all you got to do is type that into Twitter, and you'll see all the tributes coming in to him. And it's a good 30 years, and it's hard to believe it's 30 years to the day, November 22nd, 1990. That Taker, was part of that WWE, and now he's, I'm not sure what he's going to do. So it'll be interesting there. But guys, there is the best way to get in touch with me at Chris Maloney CWN. Yeah, reach out to me on Twitter as well as Instagram. If you ever have any comments with regards to the show, feedback at cwnonline.ca. Obviously, the website, cwnonline.ca. Check it out, Survivor Series recaps, as well as you can check out the prediction show and everything I've ever done, including stuff I've talked about with regards to, I think, greatest gimmick. I think Taker he might have won that when I did Fantasy Warfare Tournament, but you'll have to go back and check that out, cwnonline.ca. Like I said, Chris Maloney at Chris Maloney CWN. Best way to get in touch with me. And other than that, we will be back for episode number 15, I think it is, coming up this coming Friday. 13, 14. Yeah, it is episode number 15. So episode number 15 of CWN Weekly coming up this coming Friday. So that will be November 27th. Been doing afternoon shows lately. I've been enjoying it a little bit more. So you'll probably see it hit about 3 o'clock. If I don't do the 3 o'clock show, it means I'll be going the old regular time at about 7 p.m. But I have the ability right now to do afternoon shows. So my wife's a teacher, so I've no interference there. So I've been enjoying doing the afternoon shows at 3 p.m. So yeah, like I said, CWN Weekly episode number 15 coming up this coming Friday. So guys, that is it. Until next time, thank you very much for watching and listening. Like I said, feel free to hit me up with email or follow me on social media. And other than that, it was a great Survivor Series. Go back and watch it if you can. And again, farewell, Taker. Thank you, Taker. And, it's been one hell of a career. I'll tell you that much right there. So, guys, until next time, thank you very much for watching and listening. And we'll see everybody this coming Friday. Thank you.